and the Mauli Sahib or the Mufti Sahib or the Sheikh, whoever it is you have asked that question to, gives an answer that wasn't in your favor in whatever way it may be. Do we accept it, or do we say, I'm going shopping, fatwa shopping now? Then you ask this Mufti, that Sheikh, that Peer, that Hazrat, that Mauli Sahib. Yeah, until you find one that gives you something that satisfies your nafs. Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala anh, he still wasn't content with this, and he again made this dua. It is mentioned that some Sahaba radiallahu ta'ala anh, Anas radiallahu ta'ala anh, was working as a servant in one of the houses of the Sahaba, or he was working as the person who would bring out the drinks and the fruit and food and that sort of thing. And it is mentioned that while he was doing this, the Sahaba were sitting there and they had a few drinks, and then it came time for Maghrib Salah. Now Maghrib Salah time, they stood up, and the Imam Sahib, whoever it was, read Suratul Kafirun. Now even if you are in your senses, Qul Ya Ayyuhal Kafirun can be a mind twister, mind boggler. Yeah, you have to concentrate. You have to know whether it's Wala Antum or Wala Ana, which comes first. Which one do you read twice? Wala Antum or Wala Ana? Yeah, and then also you can get confused. So here the Imam is not in his senses. He has taken this, he's had alcohol, he's not there, he's read Surah Kafirun and he's made a major mistake. Yeah. And because of that, they get very, very unhappy. This was at the house of Abu Talha radiallahu ta'ala an. So at this time it was still permissible for the Sahaba to be like this. Thereafter Allah answered Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu's dua. However, before that, it is mentioned that Hazrat Anas, another hadith of his mentions that, he was a butler of the people in the house of Abu Talha radiallahu ta'ala an. And at that time is the time when khamr, intoxicants, were prohibited. So as I said, they were allowed to have alcohol, but and the alcohol they used to have was from unripe and your normal dates that you have, but unripe ones. Okay. So a person was walking around or making an announcement that, every khamar is haram, all these intoxicants are haram, you mustn't have them now. And what had happened is that none of them left the house of Abu Talha until they had completely destroyed and poured out all the wine from them. All the alcohol they had, they say till the streets of Medina was flowing with alcohol. Subhanallah. They listened, they were told, Sami'ana wa ata'na. This is the quality we should try to attain ourselves, that you hear or you come to know or you read or you learn. Someone teaches you that this is a command of Allah, then our attitude should be Sami'na, I have now heard, wa ata'na, and I will now obey. They immediately didn't say, okay, let me just have a last sip. It's every time, okay, we still got another 10 seconds. Let me have a couple last pulls of the cigarette. Let me have another last few dates or some water. The moment they heard, they immediately stopped and they disposed of it. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you can imagine certain Sahaba used to turn up to the masjid drunk. Yeah, I think, how strange that must have been. But very sadly, in many places, the youth are turning up to the masjid intoxicated. Many a times they don't even know what they are speaking or they are doing. Subhanallah, it is that flame of Iman that is in their heart that brings them to the house of Allah. Can you imagine that a person is not in the right sense of mind but has that respect for the day of Jum'ah, that they will come to the masjid for salah? Yeah. That's a person that's intoxicated. So those of us that don't take intoxicants, which inshallah is all of us, then what excuse should we have? Yeah, we should have this desire. And we shouldn't put anyone down. The beauty of the ummah of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam is if you see someone down, and the only time you look down upon them is when you are going to lift them up. The ummah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, their duty is to lift one another, to boost them, to motivate them. Sadly, many people get involved in bad company. Yeah, many of our youth. Yeah, I've been asking for so many years, brothers, Even the sisters come and do different activities for the youth. We all complain, the youth have gone corrupt, they're on drugs, they're doing this, they're dealing, and so forth. But no one is prepared to do anything about it. So what are we expecting? Someone else to clean up the mess after we have made the mess? No. Sometimes we feel that, it won't happen to me or my family. Brother Marhum Khalil Hassan from South Africa, I've mentioned him a few times. He had given up a high-profile job in the government to go and open up a place called Makhalisburg. Some of you may have heard of it. It was a place for those brothers that were affected by different types of intoxicants. They had become addicts and they were trying to leave it. And it was a very stressful life, to the extent that I remember when I saw him, the first time I met him to the next time I met him, first time he was working in a high-profile position. He had a very lovely house. He sacrificed all of that for the sake of the community. And you think that it won't affect us? You think it's not going on within our community? Just about a week and a half ago, I had someone contact me about the very same thing. There are many other people that are doing these things. That are doing these things, and you know about it. It doesn't mean we don't say to you that we know you are smoking weed or whatever it is, that we don't know about it, but it is a worry. How can we help our community prosper if we are not going to assist them and guide them? So Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu's question, the third time to Allah ta'ala, that, oh Allah, make clear to us what is the ruling with regards to intoxicants, regards khamr. And you'll come across it in the Noble Quran. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, O you who believe, la taqrabu salata. Some people just use till here. Do not come close to salah. They say, see, Allah says you don't have to read salah. But when you have a sentence, you have to read the whole sentence, isn't it? Wa antum sukara. Don't come near salah when you are in the state of intoxication. Because Sahaba would come in and sometimes they may do something or say something that would disrupt the salah. As I said with that one imam with Suratul Kafirun, how he made the mistake. We have to keep a close eye on our children. And I tell you why. Because your child can very easily become a dealer. They may be living under you and you may have what you think is a careful and a watchful eye over them. You might see them at the masjid and you think to yourself, well, they come to the masjid and I'm there, or they come with me, and then after that they go with their friends. Do we exactly know what they are doing? Do we know what their movements are? Do we question if they have to come home? If our child had to come home with something fancy or expensive, all of a sudden they've got some money. You haven't given it to them. Maybe they are working, but full about their wealth. Or all of a sudden they're wearing nice clothing. All of a sudden they are driving a friend's car. All of a sudden they got a friend's mobile phone, but they are using it as if it's theirs. Wallahi al-Azim, these things can creep into a person's life. And it has destroyed families already. We've seen that Brother Marhum Khalil used to say that he has come across so many cases where the person who started abusing drugs, I read one article this morning while doing some research, a postman somewhere, he used to steal parcels. Why? To fund his habit of his addiction, to take those drugs, to buy them. So a person can get involved in this very easily. And Brother Khalil said, Marhum Khalil said that he has come across so many cases where the addict has started not only stealing, the parents' items of value. I seen a house once that was for sale. A drug dealer used to live in there. We went inside. Everything that could be removed, he had sold it. These light fittings. Old light fittings, he had taken that out and sold it. The toilet seat he had sold. The sink he had sold. Just because he couldn't get the toilet out and sell it because it would break. And the bathtub, that remained. The doors were gone, the lights were gone, the light switches were gone to fund his habit. And not only this, but further than this, very, very sadly, and you may notice that I've been talking quite differently today as opposed to I normally address you, is because this is such a sad thing that parents get beaten up for money. Sometimes a parent, out of love for their child, will say, it doesn't matter, here's some money, go and have it, but you're staying here in my house. I'm going to keep an eye on you. And that parent, one day that they can't give, they get beaten up by their child. Parents being beaten up and they're too scared, especially with Asian society, you won't even speak to the police. We don't want to be cruel to be kind. Where a parent, if you really love your child and your child is involved in drugs or any sort of addiction, then you refer them to the right agencies. Maybe police, look here, he's a drug addict. I've noticed he's got some other things here, he's possibly stolen them. Please take him away, lock him up. But we don't want to do that. Why? First of all, what is everyone going to say? That my son is locked up? We rather want to do things the opposite. And we want people to say that, no, my son is a good boy, or my daughter is a good girl. She doesn't do such things. Whereas the reality of the situation, we know what it is. We make dua that Allah Ta'ala protect our children and guide them to the right path. And to all those drug addicts that are out there, may Allah Ta'ala guide them also. Because they have become embroiled in a trap. It's an ongoing thing and it's very hard to get out of. So make dua that Allah Ta'ala make it easy for them, that they can come out of this trap, come out of these difficulties, come out of these hardships. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us, because otherwise our communities are getting destroyed. The kind of details I know with regards to drugs and people and who and what and where and how and why, I can't share that with you. We'll share it with the right authorities, but I can't share that with you. But I can tell you this much. It is shocking. It is shocking. If you don't know about it, then believe you me, if you have to hear about it now, it will spoil your whole mind. That's how worrying it is. May Allah Ta'ala guide us. Wa akhiru da'wana.
Hayya